Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive.
Oh,
Today we're going to be looking at startup funding,
okay.
specifically for the week of December 23rd, 2024.
All right.
And we're going to be looking at the analysis that Bearhug Recruiting puts out every week.
Oh,
Now, what's really neat about Bearhug is that they actually specialize in recruiting for these companies. So they kind of have this
uh,
really interesting insight into the world of startup funding because they
Yeah.
see where the talent's going, where the money's flowing. So that's kind of a cool little extra
sure.
element that they bring.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, and this week is especially interesting because we're seeing a
Yeah.
lot of activity in two kind of key areas, environmental technology and enterprise software.
Okay.
And between these two sectors, 10 companies raised a combined $290.5 million.
Wow, that's a big number.
Yeah, so that's what we're going to be looking at today. Why don't we jump right in?
Let's do it.
And let's start with those companies that are tackling environmental challenges head on. Okay, so first up, we have Slip Robotics.
Okay.
And they just secured $28 million in their Series B funding round.
Wow.
And they're all about automating this task of truck loading and unloading.
Okay.
So you can imagine these robots doing this in like 5 minutes.
Wow, that's impressive.
That's like a pit crew for the modern supply chain.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that analogy. That makes a lot of sense.
And they're not just targeting any industry either. They're already working with some really big names.
Oh, really?
Like John Deere in agriculture
Okay.
and GE appliances in the world of manufacturing. So
Interesting.
it seems like they're really addressing this need for speed and efficiency in these sectors where it's just absolutely critical.
Yeah, for sure.
And it looks like the investors are really on board with this vision too. We're seeing continued investment from players like DCBC, and even some earlier investors are kind of doubling down on this.
Like who?
So Eve Atlas, founded by Tiago Olson, who was a Teal Fellow recipient.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that's pretty neat to see that kind of repeat investment. Yeah, definitely shows they're onto something.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on to Mantis Robotics.
Okay.
They just snagged $5 million in their venture round.
Okay.
And their focus is on creating these robots that can safely work alongside humans,
Interesting.
particularly in manufacturing and e-commerce environments. So instead of those robots being in cages,
Right.
they're now collaborative partners.
Yeah,
And that obviously has some huge implications for the future of work.
definitely, especially as automation becomes more and more prevalent.
Exactly. And one of the investors here that I thought was really interesting
Okay.
is the Amazon Industrial Innovation Fund,
Oh, wow.
which makes a lot of sense given that Amazon has these massive logistics operations.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they must be looking at this technology very closely.
Yeah, and to add to that, Mantis Robotics actually has a pretty global presence.
Oh, really?
They have offices in Belgium and Taiwan,
Wow. Okay.
so very strategically placed in some of those key manufacturing hubs.
That makes sense.
All right, so let's talk about Built.
They just secured $21 million in their Series B funding round.
Wow.
And they're revolutionizing the way we interact with instruction manuals,
Okay.
which I think everybody can get behind.
Yeah, for sure. Those things can be a nightmare.
Because who loves trying to decipher
You feel
those
like
confusing
it.
diagrams and tiny print?
Yeah. Exactly.
So they've created this 3D guided platform.
Interesting.
So you can imagine using interactive 3D models to assemble
Okay.
furniture or appliances or anything really.
Yeah, that would make things so much easier.
And they already have over 10,000 products on their platform and over 10 million users.
Wow, so they've got some serious traction already.
Yeah. And I also thought it was really interesting that Amex Ventures,
Okay.
the investment arm of American Express,
Mm-hmm.
joined this funding round. So it shows that even these big brands
Yeah.
are seeing the value in this kind of user-friendly solution.
For sure, it just makes sense.
Okay, let's shift gears a little bit and talk about a company that's tackling a slightly less glamorous problem, but still very essential, and that's trash.
All right.
So Hauler Hero just raised $10 million in their seed funding round,
Okay.
and they're bringing the power of AI to waste management.
Oh, wow. So they're like making trash smarter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So think about all the inefficiencies in traditional waste collection, like route optimization, billing, customer service.
Yeah, there's definitely room for improvement there.
They're using AI to streamline all of that, making it more efficient and potentially even more environmentally friendly.
That's really cool.
And their growth has been phenomenal.
Oh, really?
They've seen 200% growth in the past year.
Wow, that's impressive.
And also notice that some of the investment came from executives at Service Titan,
Okay.
which is a very successful home services software company.
Interesting.
So it seems like they see some parallels between these two industries.
Yeah, I guess both involve a lot of logistics and scheduling and dealing with customers.
Exactly.
So it makes sense that AI could be a game changer in both.
Okay, so last but not least in our environmental technology roundup,
Hmm.
we have Backflip AI, and they just secured a very impressive $30 million in their Series A funding round.
Oh,
And this is where things get really cool.
I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
They're using AI to transform text and photos into 3D designs ready for manufacturing.
Whoa, that's pretty amazing.
So imagine you have a rough sketch or even just a verbal description, and their AI can turn that into a blueprint for production.
Wow, that could be a game changer for designers and engineers.
And the investor lineup is absolutely incredible. We've got big venture capital firms like NEA and Andreessen Horowitz
Wow, those are some heavy hitters.
co-leading the round. And then we also have some really interesting angel investors,
Nick who?
like the CTO of Microsoft and the founder of Android.
Okay, that's a pretty impressive group.
So all of that combined with the fact that their team includes researchers from MIT really tells us that this isn't just hype.
Yeah, they've got the brains and the backing to make it happen.
Now let's switch gears and dive into the world of enterprise software,
Sounds good. I'm ready for more.
where we're seeing some equally exciting developments.
All right, let's hear it. It's like AI is kind of everywhere these days, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. And our first company in this category, Anatomy Financial, is a perfect example of that.
Okay.
They just secured $19 million in their Series F funding round to bring the power of AI to healthcare billing.
Healthcare billing.
Yeah.
Really? That's an interesting one.
It is. It's a brilliant application, though, when you think about it.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I guess it is a pretty complex system.
Right, all the codes and the regulations and mountains of paperwork.
Yeah, that's true.
So Anatomy Financial is aiming to streamline all of that, reduce errors, and hopefully make the whole experience less painful
Yeah. That would be great for everyone involved.
for everyone, both patients and providers.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like the investors agree this is a problem worth solving.
Yeah. Who's backing them?
So Canopy Ventures, a firm specializing in fintech for financial services, led the round.
Okay.
And they're joined by Lightspeed Venture Partners.
Oh, I know them. They've invested in some pretty big companies, right?
Yeah, they have a really good track record. They were early investors in Snapchat and Affirm.
Wow. So Anatomy Financial's in good company.
Yeah, they are.
All right, what's next?
Okay, next up we have Basis, raising $34 million in their Series A funding round.
Okay.
And they're tackling another area that I think a lot of people dread, accounting automation.
Oh, yeah. Taxes, bookkeeping, all that fun stuff.
All the fun stuff.
Not my favorite,
Nobody's favorite.
but definitely necessary.
Exactly. So Basis is using AI to automate all those processes, making accounting more efficient, more accurate.
Okay, and who are the investors here?
So this one's really interesting. Khosla Ventures led the round.
Khosla Ventures. I know that name.
Yeah, they're known for their early investments in Square and Affirm.
Oh, wow. Okay, so they have a good eye for these kinds of things.
They do, and they're not alone. The list of individual investors in Basis is really impressive.
Oh, really? Like who?
We're talking about Nat Friedman, the former CEO of GitHub,
Wow.
and Jeff Dean, a renowned figure in the world of AI at Google.
No kidding. That's some serious brainpower backing this company.
Okay, so get ready for this one. Descartes AI Research Lab just raised $32 million in their Series A funding round.
Okay.
But what's really mind-blowing is that they're already profitable,
Profitable already. That's pretty rare for a startup.
especially in the field of cutting-edge AI research.
Yeah, so what are they working on that's so lucrative?
So they're focused on building the infrastructure for what are called massive AI models.
Massive AI models. Okay, you're going to have to break that down for me.
Yeah, so these are incredibly complex AI systems that require vast amounts of data and computing power to train and deploy.
So like the next level of AI.
Exact. Think of them as the foundation for the next generation of AI applications. Everything from self-driving cars to personalized medicine.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
And with investors like Benchmark and Sequoia Capital, along with ZF Ventures backing them, it seems like they're well-positioned to be a leader in this space.
Yeah, those are some big names in venture capital.
Right. Yeah.
So it sounds like Descartes is onto something really big.
Okay, let's move on to Chargym.
Okay.
They just secured $11.5 million in their Series A funding round to make billing and payments smoother for businesses.
Okay, so like simplifying invoices and all that.
Exactly. They're using AI and machine learning to tackle those often frustrating processes.
Yeah, those are definitely a pain point for a lot of businesses.
And it seems like investors are recognizing that.
Yeah, so who's leading the charge here?
We've got Kickstart Fund, known for their investments in Utah-based tech companies.
Oh, okay.
And they're joined by Motley Fool Ventures.
Motley Fool Ventures. That's interesting.
It is, right? The Motley Fool is all about financial education and advice.
Right. Yeah, so I guess this aligns with their mission in a way.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, what's our last company?
Last but not least, we have AnySphere.
Okay.
They just raised a massive $100 million in their Series B funding round.
100 million. Wow.
Yeah, and they're the creators of Cursor, an AI-powered coding assistant.
AI for coding. That's
Yeah.
a hot area right now.
Cursor is designed to help developers write better code faster.
Okay, so like an AI pair programmer.
Exactly. It can offer suggestions, catch errors, even generate code snippets.
Wow, that sounds like a really valuable tool.
And investors are clearly excited about it. AnySphere's valuation has skyrocketed to $2.6 billion, up from $400 million just 4 months ago.
That's insane.
Yeah.
And who are the investors behind this massive jump?
So we've got Thrive Capital and Andreessen Horowitz, two of the most prominent venture capital firms in the world.
Wow. So they're definitely betting big on AnySphere.
They are.
You know, we've talked a lot about the technology and all these really cool solutions,
Yeah.
but what I keep coming back to is the people.
Yeah. I see what you mean. Like behind every one of these companies,
Mm-hmm.
there's a group of people who saw a problem and had this idea,
Right.
and they just went for it.
It's like that human element of innovation that really gets me.
Exactly.
Like, it's more than just the algorithms and the code. It's
Yeah.
the creativity, the passion, the drive to make things better.
Like, think about the founders of Backflip AI.
Right.
They had this vision of AI empowering anyone to create 3D designs.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually built a company to make that happen.
It's pretty amazing.
And it's not just the founders either.
Yeah.
It's the engineers, the designers, the investors, everyone who contributes.
Exactly. It's a whole team effort.
Yeah.
All these people who believe in the power of innovation.
You know, as we've been talking about all this,
Yeah.
I've been thinking about our listener.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
What do you think they should take away from all of this?
That's a good question.
Like, what's the big takeaway?
I think it's that we're living in a really exciting time.
Yeah.
There's so much happening with technology, and that creates so many opportunities.
Yeah, like if you're willing to embrace innovation.
Exactly, whether you're an entrepreneur, an investor,
Mhm.
or just someone who's curious about the future.
Yeah.
There's a place for everyone.
Maybe you have an idea for a startup, or you're passionate about a field that's being transformed by technology.
The key is to find what you're good at, what you're interested in,
Yeah.
and use that to solve problems you care about.
And this whole funding recap really shows that it's possible.
Yeah.
Like with the right idea, a dedicated team, a little bit of funding.
You can make a real difference in the world.
Exactly. So to all our listeners out there,
Yeah.
keep exploring, keep learning, and don't be afraid to chase those dreams.
Who knows? Maybe one day we'll be talking about your company on the show.
That would be awesome.
All right, well, that wraps up our deep dive into the world of startup funding.
Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Until next time, stay curious and keep innovating.